You are watching the New American Media. All right, so we are back with Blake the Eccentric Walley. You can find Blake over on Twitter at Eccentric99. You can check out his personal homepage at eccentricperspective.com. Blake has a podcast on YouTube, and I, yours truly, Brian Engelman, the host of this show, agree to disagree here on the NewAmericanMedia.com's TNAM network. You can find us on this podcast. Just go into iTunes and do a search for Eccentric Perspective. You can find us there. And Blake does his regular radio show, Home Base, out of freedomizerradio.com webpage. You can find it there Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific. Blake, we need to talk about this. Set to Don McLean's American Pie. Something about the levee. The levee was dry. I guess there's a hurricane coming, so we could work in some lyrics there. But you brought up on our show a couple of days ago that this is the day the liberal media died, regarding the media response to important stories like Benghazi and maybe even Donald Trump. So before we get to Colbert, which when you said he broke character, I think that's an interesting thing to say, because I think we are up against a administration that is desperate to retain their control, their power. The media realizes they can't hold this dam from overflowing. The water's cresting over the top. There is nothing that's going to save this presidency short of fraud or a military takeover. They are leaving. I've been predicting it for a while, but I could have never imagined that stuff this damning was going to come out. But you have the liberal media just trying to pretend like it's not there and trying to change it into women's rights issues and rape publicans, because they can't answer these questions and they got to hurry up and change the subject. I find it disgraceful. But talk about it for a second. Stewart, Maddow, talk about the lack of coverage and the media response following Benghazi, Libya.
All right, so hopefully everyone that's listening to this segment has heard the rest of the show and heard about Benghazi and the incredible seriousness of what happened there. So, yes, I'm calling Wednesday, October 24th of 2012 as the day the liberal media died. I'm kind of a news junkie. That's sort of what I do, and then, was getting prepared and doing some news research. So I try to, I listen to pretty much Alex Jones every day, and I listen to, lately I've been listening to, I should say Alex Jones and Jon Stewart are the two people I listen to almost exclusively every day, but I also try to incorporate Lou Dobbs, but lately I've also been watching Rachel Maddow. So I'm getting, a full spectrum of information from several different angles, as well as, at least 2 hours of, reading articles every day. So I do follow the news from so many different angles, many different sources. So I'm always trying to stay up to date on that. So with this day, Wednesday, with those, there were two absolutely bombshell stories. One was Benghazi, of course, with the what the emails had just been leaked out, showing that all these departments, all these hundreds of people, they knew that the embassy was under attack. They knew it was under attack for 7 hours. They did nothing. There was no mention of a YouTube video as being a cause, yet that was the story that they were selling the public. So you think, wow, big deal. Of course, the other big story was Donald Trump kind of putting Obama on the spot with this $5 million for charity. All he had to do was show some paperwork from his college transcripts and his passport applications and such. So of course I tuned into the media that day. I was kind of excited to see how Rachel Maddow and Jon Stewart, who I believe are the top two rated liberal news pundits on TV, according to the ratings, if I do remember, on the cable ratings. So I saw something that I had absolutely never seen before. It was unprecedented. And the coverage or lack of coverage that was in on this stuff. So you're thinking, oh, my God, how are they going to cover Benghazi? This is going to be good. I watched an entire hour of Rachel Maddow, and all it was, the liberal media, all you hear, and including Think Progress and some of these other outlets online and such, the only thing they were talking about was Richard Murdoch, which is that goofball senator or guy running for senator from Indiana, who made some really stupid, controversial comments about, rape pregnancies. And, he deserves some public ridicule. But for them to just sit there and hype that and completely ignore the Benghazi and Trump thing was I don't know what I can think of the word to describe that situation. What an absolute disgrace that was. It was as if the liberal media, for the first time I've ever seen them, just completely speechless, like they were completely checkmated. They had nothing to say. They couldn't even talk about it. And they really just became completely exposed, that they could live in infamy. We'll see how that plays out in history. But for them to not cover it shows that there's a big cover-up going on.
Well, it's a situation that it makes me shudder to think, what if they don't listen to? I mean, because you and I both listen to a lot of MSNBC.
Yep.
One, you listen to it because you think Al Sharpton is the most clever mind. He's the most brilliant professional in the industry in the past maybe 20, 30 years, I believe. You've heaped such praise on him.
The rock star, yeah.
Yeah, and Ed Schultz. That really they're legends among men.
1-2, Chris Matthews. Oh yeah.
Did you see Chris Matthews talking about Libya to that kid? Did you happen to catch that video from a day or 2 or 3 ago? You know what?
Oh, a few years ago now.
No, a day or 2 or 3 ago. You know what?
Oh, maybe not. I don't know.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna actually have to find this. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. It's 1 minute and 5. I'm just gonna play it here. Let's see if you can hear it.
Video offers a rich.
Okay, I don't need to give you the advertisement. This is what happens when you produce your own shows, folks. Okay. So here's what it is. This is Chris Matthews to a Romney supporter who says that Obama was misleading about the Libya attack. Just check this out.
TJ, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. Romney's going to be the winner.
Okay, let's move it around here. We got a Romney person here, too.
I think Obama's math just doesn't add up.
Okay, great.
Obama's going to win now.
Obama.
After they have get the best, my best with my best to Mr. Obama.
Okay, Romney. Thoughts? Just Romney.
Obama all the way, 100% support.
Obama understands the issue.
Okay, here we go.
4 more years. He deserves it.
Obama!
Getting close.
Who's that guy?
Romney.
That's me. I love it. I'm a celebrity.
Obama has done a phenomenal job. 4 more years!
Okay, 4 more years for you. Okay, Romney. Here, one more Romney. Romney.
He doesn't cover up scandals in the Middle East.
What was the scandal that was covered up?
Benghazi.
What was the scandal?
Well, I mean...
Get to it. Nail it. What was the scandal?
He said there was a video. It was not about the video.
Yeah, it was about the video. Read the newspaper. Thank you. Everybody knows it's about the video. It's all about the video. Thank you very much. We're right back with more Hardball.
Did you catch that? Did you?
Wow, I can't believe that got past me.
Hang on. Here it is. Here it is.
Or InfoWars or anything.
Here it is one more time. I find this stunning that this dude doesn't get it has nothing to do with the video. Or I think he legitimately believes this, which is, I don't know what's scary.
I want the title of this. Yes, I got to tweet that out.
Yeah, Chris Matthews to Romney supporter on Libya. It's all about the video. Here's that one part one more time.
Romney.
He doesn't cover up scandals in the Middle East.
What was the scandal that was covered up?
Benghazi.
What was the scandal?
Well, I mean...
Get to it. Nail it. What was the scandal?
He said there was a video. It was not about the video.
Yeah, it was about the video. Read the newspaper. Thank you. Everybody knows it's about the video. It's all about the video. Thank you very much. We're right back with more Hardball.
It was read the newspaper, shut up.
One more time.
What was the scandal that was covered up?
Benghazi.
What was the scandal?
Well, I mean...
Get to it. Nail it. What was the scandal?
He said there was a video. It was not about the video.
Yeah, it was about the video. Read the newspaper. Thank you. Everybody knows it's about the video. It's all about the video. Thank you very much. We're right back with more Hardball.
Lord Almighty, Blake. So I guess first reaction to this, Blake.
Typical Chris Matthews, but I think I'm upset because of all the news research I've done. I can't believe I did not see that.
Well,
it's called Chris Matthews and Mitt Romney. All right, I'm gonna have to. We'll talk after the show.
I just sent it out. Right
Okay,
there,
I'll get it
I
from
tagged you on it at Eccentric99. By the way, if you're listening to this program after the fact on YouTube or on thenewamericanmedia.com, do us a favor, and we're talking about this whole tweeting thing, is make sure you sign up for a Twitter account if you don't have one. I don't need another social. Yeah, you do. You got to, because it's our newspaper. It's all of the smart people that we follow that help us find the important stories when you're not going to click on the news and catch it on CNN or ABC. You got to follow us. Blake's at Eccentric99. You can find us over at American_media_. We need to stay connected in between radio shows, but I just this whole concept, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's 12 seconds
Scandal was
long.
covered up.
Benghazi.
What was the scandal?
Well, I mean,
Get to it. Nail it. What was the scandal?
He said there was a video. It was not about the video.
Yeah, it was
Right
about the
after-
video. Read the
it was a-
newspaper. Thank you. Everybody knows it's about the video. It's all about the video. Thank you.
Everybody knows it's about the video. It's all about the video. Nothing to see here. Sit down, shut up. Why don't you watch the news? Why don't you read a paper, you dummy? I'm Chris Matthews. I know what's best. Sit down, sheeple. Go back to sleep. It was so dismissive. It was so incorrect. It was so brazen. It was so... just the whole attitude of the Biden-Matthews-Obama team. It's
Chris
disgusting.
Matthews, yes, is an absolute disgrace to journalism. He's just absolutely unwatchable. He's a laughing stock. I can tolerate Maddow to an extent, but with her show, and I didn't even quite cover this. For her show, of course, we were talking about the seriousness of this story, and you would think that in an hour-long program that she would mention either Benghazi or Donald Trump, that challenge, even if that's a little bit goofier. But the fact is, I watched the entire show, and literally I could outline it for you. She talked about polling. And then she went right into this whole Richard Murdoch, stupid senator from Indiana. Just another typical, lunatic, religious right-winger, with the radical abortion views. Yeah, we've already seen that. I don't know how many times. And you think that story is more important than the big scandal going on in Benghazi? I mean, it was a disgrace, and they just left everybody in the dark. So she actually had 2 interviews in 2 big segments, and it was all on abortion. She actually went into a big Roe versus Wade rant. I mean, it was absolutely pathetic to watch how they cover it. And then, of course, you just had that little Chris Matthews slime ball, cutting that kid off, not addressing it, and telling him to read a newspaper.
It was about the video. Read a newspaper, you dummy. It's all about the video. Everyone knows it's about the video. We'll be right back. Wow.
Right.
Now, I mean, the father of this ex-SEAL said those who denied request for help are the murderers of my son. He's accusing this administration, the head of the CIA, the people running the war room over in the Pentagon and the President of the United States of murdering his son by not doing their job as commander-in-chief. Your number one job as president isn't to protect the country. It's to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You have a job as a commander-in-chief to keep the people safe within the confines of the Bill of Rights. The NDAA proves that he doesn't understand that priority, and he doesn't care about protecting and defending the Constitution, and this shows that he's incapable of being a commander-in-chief, lying to us on 9/11 that freedom of speech is to blame. Hey, what was next? What was the follow-up line had we not gotten the story, Blake? Was it that we need to try Sharia law here because that's just a more civilized UN way of doing things, and I'm just going to impose this, for I am Barack Obama, dear leader, kneel down before me? I mean, what was the next line supposed to be?
I think he would probably love to turn things over to the United Nations. So I don't know, and that's pretty scary because they don't recognize their charters and their laws are not compatible with Constitution and individual rights of freedom and property. So that'd be pretty scary stuff. And he gets his military orders from the UN, yes, and they're trying to implement any other type of programs here. So, I don't want to get sidetracked into Agenda 21 and some of that stuff.
Well, Leon Panetta was talking about basically taking orders from the UN, that he doesn't need congressional approval. That's the same guy that was responsible for this crap. I mean, I find it hard to believe that the people in the upper echelons of military aren't just appalled with all of this crap going on and that they're not working to get rid of the problem. I find it hard to believe that when the body detects cancer, usually it fights against it. And your body starts, you find the free radicals and your body starts fighting itself. We have defense mechanisms to get rid of the evil, and if this is to lose the United States sovereignty, I mean, hell, the UN, they're saying that the UN wants to send inspectors of elections into the United States. Excuse me, get the hell out of my yard.
Small arms treaty. We didn't even get to the small arms treaty. That would be a violation.
I mean, this is all a bunch of crap, Blake. And it just keeps going. It just keeps going on and on. Before we move past this, we talked about Jon Stewart a little bit. We talked about Rachel Maddow. Talk about Stephen Colbert, because I didn't happen to check this out, but it sounded very interesting when you brought it up.
Okay, well, very quickly with Jon Stewart, I didn't get to it. Now, Jon Stewart usually is pretty fearless. He doesn't back down to anything. So you're thinking, well, how is he going to cover the Donald Trump thing? You figure that's going to get covered for sure, but how is he going to cover the big scandal in Benghazi? And all he did was maybe within the first minute of his show is when he talked about them, but he didn't address them. He showed images of animals. What word can I use on your show, Brian?
As clean as
going
possible.
Number 2, how's that?
Yeah.
Is that innocent enough? A hippopotamus and a gorilla. And he picked.
I think we could say we could. I think
we
we could call it a hippopoopamus.
Sure, there you go.
That's pretty pretty PG.
So when it came to Donald Trump, he just said, "Here's Donald Trump," and they showed a gorilla throwing poop, and he said, "And here's about Libya." He cherry-picked a quote from none other than Sarah Palin, who said something about how Obama should stop shucking and jiving.
That's the
Benghazi.
story. Right, that's the story.
And tried to make that into a racism thing. That also ties into Chris Matthews, because I guess Matthews and Palin got into it over those comments as well. I mean, Palin's a caricature. She's makes comments like James Carville of the other liberal side. So that was what they did. So instead of addressing any of that stuff, they just made some poop jokes and skipped it. And then I've never seen Jon Stewart. He changed the entire formula of his show. The first segment was totally weak, and the second segment he ended up doing a second interview. He ended up having two-thirds of his show were interviews. It was very strange to see. I've never seen Jon Stewart just look so rattled. He even made a big quote. I don't have the quote in front of me, but he basically mailed it in. He basically said he couldn't address these two big news stories. And so I've never seen him.
Did you get the
do that.
impression that he wanted to and the producers shut him up?
That's a possibility. It's something I've been thinking about, too. Maybe he did come up with a couple of bits, and maybe they didn't want to air them. Maybe they were. It had to be difficult to try to spin that, which is where we can get into with. And he also had Obama on his show last Thursday, so you know that there's a part of him that's kind of expected to once in a while play ball with the administration.
Well, of course. Then he had Governor Mitt Romney on Friday or Wednesday, right?
Yeah, he literally. Last night he had Pelosi on last night, of all people.
Skeletor.
And you know what his second bit was on? His bit last night was on that stupid Richard Murdoch again. So, I mean, even last night, Rachel Maddow, no mention of Benghazi, no mention of Trump, and even on the Daily Show again. It was nothing. It was Murdoch again. But yes, now we can get even into Colbert. Colbert is the only person I saw. And sorry, one more thing. Like Think Progress, one of these big, stories. I've been following their Twitter feed. Not a single mention of Benghazi, not a single mention of Trump, and it was nothing but Murdoch this, Murdoch that, abortion that, rape, pregnancy, blah, 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 blah. Like that was the only story in town. It was really sad. But then you get to the only person that actually covered these events from the liberal media is, of course, somebody who plays a character on Comedy Central, Stephen Colbert, who I really, I like him. I like his show. He's the only one that dared touch the issues. And when it came to the Benghazi situation, he did admit something about a cover-up very briefly, and then he went on this big walk around the whole studio and asked, dozens of hypothetical questions about what could have happened, blah, 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 and just started kind of asking, just goofy, comedic sort of questions off in the air. And then at the very end of his little sketch, he said he turned this into a Obama got Osama bin Laden. And it was right before they went to break. He made instead of usually his character would be against Obama, but in this case he said he basically spun this whole thing around into a Obama got Osama. And as far as the Donald Trump thing went, he, instead of addressing, what the issue or addressing the challenge, addressing the illegitimacy of Obama and how basically Donald Trump just checkmated Obama with his identity, he turned that around into a $1 million challenge towards Donald Trump to teabag him, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird. I've never seen him break character. Yes, everybody, all the top liberal pundits, and it's ratings-wise, Colbert and Daily Show, Jon Stewart and Rachel Maddow. They got beat. I've never seen them just get destroyed like that, and they didn't know what to do.
It was the day the liberal media died. We need to write this song. I'm telling you, Blake. We got to get some of these rhymes together. And
we should. I used to work in a piano bar, and
did you really?
There was a 100% chance I was going to hear that song every single day, which isn't bad because it's still a great song.
100% chance. That reminds me when I was bartending in my college town, and it was what was that Gwen Stefani song? This S is bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A. Do you remember that from 7 years ago,
Wow,
Blake?
it's been a while ago.
Oh, yeah.
No?
It was a minute ago, and so we turned it into this shot has bananas. So we put 99 bananas into shots, and we would go through, round after round after round. Every time that song played, it was pretty much on the hour, every hour that song was playing. And just when you said 100% chance of Don McLean, it just reminded me of that. But I'll tell you what, let's move away from bananas and Gwen Stefani and move over to another girl named Sandy. Let's go to Sandy. Yeah, you don't want sand in your pie. Well, okay, I'm just going to stop right there. That went in a bizarre direction almost. So what we'll do is we'll come back. We're going to talk about Hurricane Sandy, that you look at the progressions on these radar, you flip through the channels, and it shows a direct path going straight up and then curving, going directly like a 45-degree angle right to Washington, D.C., right before an election. Could this be an October surprise? Could this be weather manipulation or weather warfare? Oh, I don't know about that, but do we usually have hurricanes in October? Is this usually the hurricane season? Not as I recall. Usually that's a few months ago. We're almost in November. We're almost done with the World Series, and we're talking hurricanes. This is a little weird. So we'll come back, we'll talk about it, and we'll talk for a second about prepping, because just imagine your power goes out for 2 weeks. Do you have your medicine? Do you have food for your animal? Do you have water? Do you have flashlights? Do you have a gun in case someone breaks into your house? Do you have the basic components to taking care of yourself under control? The whole East Coast is getting ready to think about it, and we'll think about it too on the other side. We're talking with Blake, the eccentric Walley. You can find him in many different places. The first, you can go to eccentricperspective.com and check out his homepage. You can find him every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific on freedomizerradio.com. freedomizerradio.com. He does a show, Eccentric Perspective, there. I, your humble, sometimes not so humble co-host, Brian Engelman, I will co-host with Blake on Mondays, the occasional Wednesday and Thursday. But you can also make sure that you get the podcast on iTunes of Eccentric Perspective. You can find it over at iTunes, and then type in Eccentric Perspective. And then once you do that, you're going to be good to go. And then you're going to have all of the podcasts just show up with the new episodes of Eccentric Perspective. That's pretty sweet. So over on our side, if you're not following us on Twitter, we're at American_media_. Please follow us. Blake is Eccentric99. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube page, that's youtube.com/The New American Media. Blake, what we're going to do now is we're going to take about a 3-minute break. So if you need to get settled in and grab something real quick, we'll have about 3 minutes of in-between time here, and we'll be right back on the other side talking about HARP, talking about Hurricane Sandy, talking about prepping, and more as we wrap up Agree to Disagree here on thenewamericanmedia.com.
You are listening to the Agree to Disagree program on thenewamericanmedia.com.
Be sure that you go on to Facebook.com and do a quick search for The New American Media and like our page, because we like it when you do that. TNAM Radio, because the news always matters. Hi, Brian from thenewamericanmedia.com. Last year I had this idea. I wanted to start a website of my own, not just something, a presence on Twitter, a presence on Facebook, and have a thing. I wanted a website. I wanted a home base for all of the ideas and things I'm interested in. I wanted live radio. I wanted to communicate with the globe. I was tired of being spoon-fed dogma by corporate interests and just, here, believe this, believe this. I said, no, I think there's something underneath the surface, but I didn't know how to do it. So I contacted Ted Distel of disteldesign.com. Ted walked us through the process of, okay, you want videos, you want to do quotes of the day, you want to have a spiritual section, you want to have a 1984 watch where government's intruding and private corporations are intruding into your privacy. Yeah, those are the things that I was interested in. Ted walked me through the process. We built thenewamericanmedia.com, and I encourage you to go online and take a look at our site. That's what he's capable of. Please, if you have an idea, go to disteldesign.com. That's DISTEL design.com.
Have you ever considered adopting a pet to be part of your family? Our animal companions can be just as close to us as our human companions. If you're considering adoption, please visit your local shelter and adopt a pet today. Shelter pets make the best pets.
Follow thenewamericanmedia.com on Twitter at American_media_.
This is The New American Media. Hi, it's Brian from thenewamericanmedia.com. I'm a sports fan. I was raised in Cleveland, spent 25 years in Ohio. I watched the drive, the fumble, the shot too. I watched Art Modell steal the Cleveland Browns and win a Super Bowl over in Baltimore. I watched a horrible coach named Bill Belichick go on to the Patriots and win Super Bowls over there. Hooray. I am a bitter sports fan. Let's not even talk about what happened with he who shall not be named, who went to South Beach to take his talents there. Excuse me, I almost threw up in my mouth a little bit there. I'm a sports fan who cares to talk about the things that matter to me. That is the Indians, the Cavs, the Browns, and the Buckeyes. But of course, I pay attention to national sports, and we discuss that on our show as well. That's why we have The Unhappy Hour every single Friday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific. Sit down, have a drink. It's the end of a long work week, and we can all get together and talk about the unhappy times that we've had as sports fans. We've all had them. We've had ups and downs, but as Cleveland fans, we only have downs. Join us. If you're tired of the other stuff, take a look at thenewamericanmedia.com. If you want a sports program that's going to both talk about national stories and care about the Indians, Cavs, Browns, and Buckeyes, come over to thenewamericanmedia.com and bring a couple of your friends.
You are listening to the Agree to Disagree program on thenewamericanmedia.com.
You are watching The New American Media